Hi, what's up in the name of Christ? It's Crankcake Karabo. I have switched on a fan in the background. You can hear it if at all you keenly pay attention to such a thing as that. I have made a decision to stop using Filmora because it makes my computer crash and it's not worth it since it's no longer fully functional and completely operational. But I have a solution around the pacing. Yes, it's not going to be as bountiful as it used to be. As you can tell, there's like a lot of silences right now, but it'll be enough. Okay, I'm going to be using basically stopping to record every couple of minutes, just so it can appear as if though I am succeeding to pace, pretty much like what you just saw right now. I paused and then I continued, so it looks as if though I'm pacing. Plus, I'm using an application right now that allows me to record for only 3 minutes at a time, so that's gonna help with me looking like I'm bouncing around like a bouncy baby. Let's praise God for that. I've also deleted the application from my computer. There's another silence that you would never have seen before. I deleted the app because it was violating me. It was properly like a bad man. It was just violating the living daylights out of me because, like I said, it was making my computer crash. So that means we're never even going to allow ourselves to be tempted in that way. I switched on the fan so that we don't have to deal with the issues that the fan causes. Sorry, the lack of a fan causes. Overheating of my cell phone device to a point of the phone just kind of dying altogether. Plus, recording in 3-minute intervals makes a massive difference. So the workaround I was seeking to identify, discover, happen upon yesterday, I found it. I did encounter an extension cord. The extension cord of which, shall I put this out there, was too short. Plus, I did not want to record in the vehicle. On top of that, no, we're not doing it. It's literally just that basic. I'm speaking on top of my voice because the fan has to stay on. And ultimately, just like it does with me, eventually, it's gonna become white noise even to you. Hallelujah, in the name of Jesus Christ. Did you under heaven have a good night? If not, it doesn't really matter because I never have a good night, so I guess like misery loves company. Listen guys, we're gonna talk about an important matter at this particular juncture. And no, the matter is not my wig, and neither the fact that I'm wearing fake makeup. It's about saboteurs. I cannot stand this fan. Every so often it makes a funny noise. So if you happen upon a funny noise, just ignore it. Listen to the gospel. Listen guys, you know what, we're not doing this. We're not doing it. All of these nightmares I keep on getting all over the random show, keep on nonsense. Just cease and desist from the nonsensical activity. But if you don't want to cease and desist from the nonsensical activity, I'm going to ransack such nonsensical activity as that. Witches, let's have a chit-chat, a conversation. Herein lies the conversational point, okay? Witchy witches. I do not care how much you want to thrive in your general bones against your victims by being the be-all and end-all of a saboteur out here in these violently uncomfortable streets. Bottom line is, it is the very deed of being a saboteur, or it is the very deeds of being saboteurs that put you in a position to get busted. So the Bible says, alright, herein lies the deal, drum roll, give it. Oh, we're done with the drum roll, we're not carrying on anymore. Okay. The wickedness of the wicked ensnares them, but the righteousness of the righteous delivers them. Now, because that is insanely true, herein lies the deal, randos, okay? You're gonna literally keep shooting your uncomfortable selves in the foot until everybody is like, thief, stop, thief. Everybody is gonna notice that something is just absolutely wrong with this picture. So I had a nightmare, and I keep having them, and they are supposed to make me feel all sallow and sorrowful, except I don't really do sallow and sorrowful. I only do, what are you doing? Stop doing it, and if you don't want to stop, I'm gonna diss you. Even I'm distracted by the noise of the fan in the background. Herein lies the circumstance and the situation. It's uneasy, but we're gonna make it a little bit more comfortable because we're like a flight attendant on an airplane or something. Listen, okay? I had a dream last night, and no, not the kind that Martin Luther King has, but rather the kind that witches infest in the ecosystem of their victims until they want to die or something. But we don't do death up in this camp. We do handled much. That's what's good. Now, because we do handled much, we don't fear, we don't tremble. It could be tremble, because it's like a trampoline. You shake up and down, and you jump up and down on the spot, because witches said jump, and you said how high. But anyway, we don't shake, we don't tremble. We do a better thing. We handle, we highlight, we evacuate people from the building that is burning by just kind of putting facts out there. Recording in the bedroom will always be my alibi. I'm sorry, it's just what we're doing. Like, even the fact that I considered recording in the video call is an abomination in and of itself. Anyway, whatever. Let's just carry on with the conversation. I know I appear to be digressing, but I'm so good at what I do that ultimately it becomes clear by the end of this message that I never really digressed. I was piecing points together. Witches, we're still talking about you, yes, not because I'm trying to make you famous, but rather because I'm trying to regain my own fame. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're gonna give me my reputation back despite having reviled the living daylights out of me. Now herein lies the witch. I'm going to basically give you a scenario of a person that's rolling around in a broom, flying over people's houses, hovering at night without sleeping. It's like, don't you have your own life? Do you not have your own thing to concentrate on? But it appears they don't, so I'm gonna like do a little bit of a side diss. It's a diss track, this thing, and I apologize if light keeps changing. In one moment I'm looking like a yellow bone, the other moment I look like my complexion when I'm messing with this application, because frankly it's not gonna do anything for me to keep on touching this thing in such a hot environment as this. So you guys, herein lies the circumstance, herein lies the scenario that we're planning, because it's just what we do with that gifted, except witches are like in denial, cease and desist, drop the ball because you've been doing it. However, admitting that you've done it will go a very long way. Herein lies the circumstance again. Let's do the drum roll. Here's the witch, okay? She's walking down the street. The witch is walking down the street. And then once the witch reaches the side of the street that she's trying to reach, because yes, we're a musical. Every time we break out into song, it means that this is such a poignant topic that absent of using music, people would literally bomb in their heads on the spot from just a lot of sorrow. So we sing about it, oh yeah. Herein lies the hopping little kangaroo on the side of the street, happening upon an innocent lady or duty. Duty, your lady is doing a duty, your lady thing, and it's like the witch is like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna leave you be. And then the duty and lady that irritates the witch just cause they're a duty and lady just so happens to then pick a bone by mere virtue of being a duty and a lady to the witch, because proper they don't need any sufficient. They do not need any sufficient motivation, nothing at all that makes sense. Can't find it in any valuable textbook in a library as to why they're doing what they're doing to a person. Often they tend to be motivated by literally zero, naught and ash but jealousy. Running on nothing but Mona of which gives them a Karakanchi Dumbalito, like their eyes start to swell. Because they're gazing upon somebody that they frankly cannot touch because they're too legit to quit being MC Hammer and everything. Given that the individual in question is just literally boxum excellent at everything they do. So if you can't knock the thingamabobby off by natural sabotage, then you're gonna use spiritual sabotage. So the lady and the duty, ooh yeah. On the side of the street that they've identified to basically ransack with their witchy thing that they're doing. You guys know I wear the same clothes every day. Please don't come at me pouncing like a beast, because frankly I am going to strangle you, okay? Here lies the people. They are innocent, but for being guilty for being gifted. Oh, snap. Like, who'd have thunk it that became a crime one day on the earth, given that we're living on a planet that is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, or at least its inhabitants, okay? They identify you because they don't like your nose. They identify you because they don't like your lashes, even as you bat them, those eyelashes. They don't like your hair, because like proper, what black girl grows ginger hair? They don't like your lips. They don't like your chin. They don't even like the fact that your acne is suitable, like proper, when you got that suitable acne. So they're gonna come at you, they're gonna come and they're gonna pounce, because it's what they do, roaring like the seedy little devil in a bush, seeking whomever they want to devour. Following devouring of which they then spit the bones out unless you're a Christian. So those of you that are victims of witches, allow me to give you some kind of pat on the back and make you feel a little bit better about your sorrowful state, because you've been targeted by an irresponsible civilian on the earth. That's what's good. They're just civilians, but they act like they're soldiers. These randos are during these unfortunate streets of ours. Yeah, they will come at you purely because, like, what are you doing having teeth? I would much rather you didn't have them. And then they go and they sabotage spiritually the teeth, okay? But they don't stop at that. That's just the thingy-mabobby that we're talking about. Out here in these streets, gotta bring in a song sometime, because absent of bringing in the song, people gonna have their brains bomb. Just in case you imagine me one who is just like uncomfortably obsessed with talking about witches, seas and desist, frankly that's my ministry. It is my niche. I get to talk about them like 27,000 hours a day, because it's literally what they deserve to be spoken about. Absent of talking about them, everybody is their victim irrevocably and irrecoverably, with no justice coming. Proper, somebody gotta boot print these buggers on the face. Somebody gotta leave a scar or two on their faces. Somebody gotta pull out a tooth. Somebody gotta ring an ear. Somebody gotta chop off a hair follicle. Like proper, like these things cannot work. I suppose hair follicles can't be chopped off unless you're Karaba, because in the name of Jesus, amen, thus be gonna the hair follicle. Anyway, you chop off a hair strand, but in my life, even follicles get to go. Listen, man, I am trying to help you understand the travesty of witches when they roll in your life. They rock up here and take everything you have, having no other reason than the fact that they envy your lash, envy your skin. Listen, oh, listen. These witches come at a crossroads at some point, because they become then physical saboteurs, following which they then expose themselves. Whoa! And after they expose themselves, they gather together in their numbers against their victims in order that they might be protected by all of their survival, with hanging on to their each other. Not their victims. They hold on to each other, you guys. To each other. These people. Imagine that they're in this together. Oh, they're in this together. So for those reasons, oh, there is safety in the numbers. Now how do they find each other? Tell me what your lucky guess is how they find each other. Don't do luck, it's not in Christ. They're drawn strangely, as with a magnetic pull there at the North Pole, to each other, because their victims tend to be the same. Why? Because they are fulfilling the word of the Lord in the parable of the talents. They're like the lazy servant that buries their talent in the ground, you guys, in the ground. So, according to the parable of the talents, there is this one guy that has 5 talents, and then another guy that has 2, and then there's another guy in the corner that has just 1 little talent. So all they can do is tap dance. And this little rando is the bane of the existence of the earth. Why? Because they are so allegedly apparently scared to lose God or whatever, afflict the Lord or poke or prod at him, that they take their talent and they bury it in the ground because they imagine their master, they know how hard Noki is or whatever. Okay, please go read that parable, you guys. However, the guy with the 5 talents goes and makes 5 more. The guy with the 2 talents goes and makes another 2. But this rando, they bury their talent in the ground because apparently the taskmaster is tasky. Oh, when is this ever gonna stop? Now, because they've buried their talent in their ground, they cannot make another one. It's called an investment in yourself. Grow. You shall never, ever, ever cultivate a better thing, a better skill. Do you understand me? For Stan, if you don't, chisel up and refreshen and polish whatever the Lord God Almighty gave you, you don't just get to sit on it, oh, bugaboo, because your talent is a beanbag now. Cease and desist, So these randos, right? They just hang out on their talents and bury them in the ground or whatever. And then time progresses, you guys. Time progresses. Like what? Watch the clock go tick-tock, tick-tock. Okay. And now they be sitting there all talentless, oh snap, looking at the dude getting better at singing, looking at the dude getting better at tap dancing, looking at the dude getting better at crunching numbers, looking at the dude getting better at doing hair, looking at the dude getting better at fixing just about everything. But they're busy getting extra talents because they're using their own. And these guys then sit in a corner, bottom lip quivering, and all. And then they look at you. With the talents and all, they look at you, killing it, kicking it, squeezing it, and juicing it. And they're like, woo! Upon then making an accurate observation of you killing it, kicking it, squeezing it, and juicing it, they then go out of their way to take that away from you because they be out here making like Cain, sitting on their sacrifice for God, welting it, and then killing Abel because they didn't do a proper job. And their jealousy, you guys, ooh, their jealousy, you guys. Oh, how it comes, pouncing on you like a bunny rabbit. That's what's good. They properly afflict you because of the fact that they've been sitting on their own talent, doing nothing, and now that you are invested in your talent to a point of making returns, they want to come and envy the living daylights out of you and then grab it from on out of your hands. The Bible says anger is overwhelming, whoa, and fury, oh fury is a flood, but who can stand before jealousy? That's the word of God. Sounding like an electric guitar and all. Okay. Apparently, allegedly, nothing can stand before jealousy, so their envy over Abel essentially makes them do a thing that makes Abel disabled. Whoa! Oh, what's wrong with you? With you over there? That's the thing. You've been sitting, oh slothful servant. thus saith the Bible, on your talent. Yes, ultimately, eventually, once your insanity cultivates to a particular height, you will then be thrown into the outer darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth, and in that place the smoke of their torment rises up forever. There is no rest, thus saith the Lord, for the wicked forever. So because this is their sad little reality, they come at you pouncing with a flying kick because they're telling themselves like their father the devil, I'm not gonna go out alone with this. I'm not doing it alone. I'm going to die with you. I'm gonna die with you. They're a bunch of jealous freaks that frankly are not using their gifts as God would have them use them, or they can't stomach the fact that other people are using their gifts in a very appropriate fashion in the face of God, and acceptable is their sacrifices therefore. So they come at you pinching, they come at you punching, they come at you with a bomb, and then they explode you, except like hello, when you explode, you mushroom match, you just get more talent, because nothing grows a person more than attrition and perseverance. Yes! Long suffering, you guys. Patience, woo-woo. Ooh, you have no idea what it does for your talents eventually. Vroom, like a car, it gets it moving. You suffer at their hands for a season, but because you suffer at their hands, and humanity is born just like naturally kind of self-preserving. Self-preservation is a thing in the human race. It's a gift from on high. Don't underestimate it. We don't do that out here in these streets, like seas and disaster. Because of self-preservation, most people, upon being afflicted by some kind of boot print from like the cosmos that a witch put on their face, they don't just like flop on the floor and die off. They don't just cease to be. They try again. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Don't be a bumbo. Don't be a bumbo. Don't just be a buttock sitting around. Don't do it. Thankfully, humanity is self-preserving, so they don't. Upon humanity, therefore, being as self-preserving as they are, the witches eventually get their comeuppance. How? Because the person that they seized and desisted the activities of thriving of rose again. They rose again. They blossomed. Whoa! That was the process of being pruned. If they're believers in the Lord Jesus Christ, they are the branches that the vine dresser prunes, that they might bear more fruit. Now, pruning, she's a very painful process, that one, eh? It is a process of cutting, so of course it will hurt. It will hurt and it will burn. It will burn your skin till you feel like you've got multiple degree burns of a first, second, and third degree nature, but you will come out on the other side like Naman with baby skin, even though for a season you walked around with leprosy. And it is upon being recovered to your bambino skin after being bombarded else that the witches look real gangster. But what's imperative is in the run-up to what they did. During the season when Cain had spilled the blood of Abel and it was crying out to God for justice from the floor, that's what's good. It is in this season that the witches do the most in camaraderie with each other. I told you, they love to kumbaya. They love to swing left and right and stand with each other. Why? Because they tend to be similar. Bayafana, birds of a feather, how they flock together. Bayafana. And so because Bayafana, Bayatandana, they look the same. So they hang out together and they are victim. Their victims are the same, you guys. Their victims are always the same girl. Their victims are always the same oak. They're always the same people. Why? Because they don't target that which has nothing to show. They don't target that which has got no one to grow. They don't target people that ain't got Jack, Jill, and a bag of nothing. Oh, they only target the person that's got a great future, the person that's got a great mind, the person that's killing it, the person that's kicking it. They always target the most talented, the most intelligent, the most gifted, the most all-rounder excellence. They always target the laugh of the party. They always target the girl with the buxom personality. They always target the lady with the mission. They will always go for people who basically in the parable of the talents are like the dude with the 5 talents or the dude with the 2 talents, either making 5 or 2 more, investing and therefore wreaking havoc in their lives with the return on their investment. Then you guys tune in, for this is a nice little show for you to listen to. Stop watching rubbish on Netflix and listen to Lady Kiki. Listen to Lady Chica out here in these streets, okay? I'm gonna go give you understanding. I'm going to go and wrap around you like a burrito, a blanket of understanding. Understand, understandable will be this message that's so fathomable in the sight of the Lord. It's imaginable, so understand it all. It belongs to the Lord, so listen and know. You're gonna know that He's been here. Woo! Now that you get it and you understand even before you understand it, because it's understandable. These human individuals, they're going to come at you with a boot print because you've got money telling so, but they're going to challenge each other to basically keep themselves looking good by making the unfortunate one person in the room that's doing a better thing look like they are dumb and irresponsible. They've got nothing good that they are doing with their life, or they've destroyed everything. Everybody they meet, they go and they devastate. So they're going to give you a reputational damage. It is no wonder, therefore, that the Bible make it clear what to use it over there. Unfortunately, debased and discombobulated by stupid friends. To understand that, right, if you're going to love Jesus, the world is going to hate you. The world is going to be despising of you. And when then it hates you, it will revile you. It will call you not sin, no. It will go and afflict you with nonsense and revile your name. Yes. Yes! These people, you guys, are revilers. And they tend to band together because they fall within the parable of the talents among the human individuals that are sitting on theirs. They can't stand the observation of other people doing a better thing, getting their own, and so they afflict those that are getting their own. And once they've afflicted those that are getting their own, misery loves company. When you are a witch in a corner hanging out in a cauldron, you're probably going to want to meet other witches that agree that the best person for the job deserves to be unemployed. The best artist for the job deserves to be unemployed. The best lady for the gig deserves to be unemployed. The best person for the job deserves to be unemployed. Woo! They will then pretend that you were not the one kicking booty in the school with the better grades than them. They will act like you did not just kick some booty. They're gonna pretend that you're not that girl that got the promotion cause you were that good. They're gonna act like history is nothing at all and pretend that you never had any talent before. What a lie! And so, because you will be their mutual victim, their common victim, these plebeians, these commoners, these randos, they're so random, I can't stand them, they're so random, they're so random. But Jesus gives long suffering, because if you don't suffer these random people, your glory is not going to be so extreme. You're not going to shine. You're not going to have a little trumpeting band of people who are performing in the streets, basically parade on your behalf. There is a lot of glory to going through Robbie's show and then rising again. But in the run-up to you going through Robbie's show, it was obvious that you are the best person for the job. But then next thing, you just lose everything, because they go and they trip you up, they destroy you, they take away your all-star sneaker and give you some no-name brand. What you doing? Bring me my sneaker back, but they don't want to do it. But it does not matter, because in the run-up too, when you're walking around with flip-flop, because you don't have proper sneaker, yes, they're going to mock you. Together, they're going to band against you and make you look dumb. But remember the Bible. Blessed are you when men revile you and call you all different kinds of things on account of the name of Jesus. Great is your reward in heaven. They do the same thing to the prophets who came before you. So don't worry, child. Fear not, these randoms going to do that which a typical random do. Destroy you. Like their sugar daddy devil. They gon' properly like out here in these streets do a predictable sugar daddy thing. They gon' steal, they gon' kill, they gon' destroy, and then hope the sugar daddy gon' love them more than his wife. That's what's good. The devil is your sugar daddy. You know why? Because he's an older guy that has no business being in your life, that's going to give you HIV, that is giving his wife grief, that is promising that he's going to divorce his wife for you. However, he is never going to leave that woman, and you're going to be the young lady with HIV that properly tried to steal a husband, and now you just looking like the local harlot. That's what's good. He's your sugar daddy. He's your sugar daddy. So while the devil is like, let me come here and be your one, your most uncomfortable sugar daddy. Sugar daddy that you like, I'll take you to your wife because I'm loving instant gratification and ill-gotten gain. Are you gonna do something of that nature? They love their sugar daddy because it gives them temporary relief from jealousy. Anger is overwhelming, fury is a flood, but who can stand before jealousy? Don't nobody. So they go and they grab their mona, that's what's good. And they put it to practice by afflicting some of the best people in their ecosystem. But because some of these best people in their ecosystem tend to be generally afflicting, jealously so, of a lot of people, they then gather the numbers around the person that's doing really well. The guy with the 5 talents that's making 5 more. The guy with the 2 talents that's making 2 more. They take these people and they hurt them because a lot of people in society tend to already have a bone to pick with the really gifted girl in class, the really gifted guy in the office, the really gifted gym bunny at the gym. You're gonna put a hole in her knee so she can't even squat anymore. Mana! Ah! So because they afflict you with jealousy, when they start to discover that they're not alone, they are not alone, they've got each other in all their deep darkness, they're always in the same caucus, talking lots of rubbish about the most gifted person that's temporarily going through a lot because their witchcraft is doing a thing. And then they feel like they are not alone, not alone. They are not alone. They are not alone. Woo! Wenana. Therefore, upon identifying that they are not alone in their mistreatment of a common person that they all have hurt, they then gather in their bands and they mistreat the one person that they all commonly envy. They tend to have that him or that her as a common enemy. They make an enemy out of the most gifted people around them. And so together, as a band of friends, a band of colleagues, a band of classmates, a band of clubhouse members, whatever, they then decide to come up against the person that was the best among them. And so when everything falls apart for this unfortunate lady, for this unfortunate gentleman, when stuff starts to fall apart, right, for them, Mona causes them to mock the falling state of that person, to gossip the living daylights out of them, to verify the lies, the revilings coming up against them, to offer them absolutely no support. They literally add insult into the injuries of the person they envied the most. They realize, they discover it, they look left and right upon panning their heads in the atmosphere and discover, therefore, that Everybody has a bone to pick, or at least a lot of people, with this one person. Scheme sa dichomi kaofela. Envying the living daylights out of one friend. And when this one friend does a falling apart thing, because one friend came up, like for instance with me, I keep saying that all of my friends from high school, scheme sa kaofela sa ko high school, they cast spells on me. And when stuff started falling apart in my life, guess what they predictably did? Whoa! Gather together to talk about how I went crazy. I don't make any sense. And guess what enabled them to do this thing? The fact that people in my own family, jealous cousins that I was better than, people in my own family, an irresponsible mother that is narcissistic, probably envying her own child, went on right ahead to validate rumors that were spread about me that were not true. And upon making an observation of a lack of support from my family members, instead of being like, girl, I'm sorry, and patting me on the shoulder, giving me comfort during a season of sorrow, they together reviled my name, gossiped me. Together, they reviled me, they gossiped me. Yay! That was the thing with my friends from high school. It happened as well with my colleagues in the office. It happened everywhere where I could frequent in society, where I was walking around with good peoples, imagining that I am covered by friends, like I'm good. What? Yo, I got an entourage. Like, look at me paint the town red with my girls. Hey, what's up? Thinking that me I got a squat samantombazana. Yo, what? And then next thing they all gossiped the living creepy rando. Everything in my life fell apart, and this squat samantombazana that I trusted fell apart too. They were fair weather friends. It's what they were, you guys. And when everything of mine was growing like weeds up a tree, they acted as if though they were my girls. We were toasting, we were breaking bread, all over the show, painting the town red. And then everything in my life fell apart, and the gossip that started. Oh my goodness, like, whoa, did I ever have any friends? That's what happened, you guys, with colleagues. That's what happened, y'all, with friends. That's what happened, you guys, with family. And I was like, did I ever have anybody? Why did they do this thing? Because I'd entered into the kingdom of heaven, pierced through, loved Jesus, saw the parable of the talents, sought the Lord's face, therefore, to enable me to use my 5 talents and make 5 more. And here it is that now I was making talent number 6, talent number 7, talent number 8, you guys. I was making talent number 9. And these randos were like, whoa, whoa. And so they went to the drawing board. Upon not being able to sabotage the living daylights out of me physically, they then used a spiritual means. Boloi, targeting me in their numbers, and they thought that they were the only ones doing this until upon falling apart all over the show, you guys, all over the show, I was just falling apart. They did not come to my rescue. They did not come to my comfort. They did absolutely nothing. They stood back, sat from a distance, and said, let's see how this ends. Let's see how this ends. And then they noticed that more people, more individuals were happy to serve them in their destructive countenance against me. They found each other. They noticed that they all had a bad attitude towards me. They noticed that they all had something negative to say about me. They noticed that they all were happy to agree that I was rubbish. And so together they clubbed against one girl, one woman that had not any negative thing that she had done. She was above reproach. She was innocent. That's what's good. But despite that, with all the evidence gawking at everybody, the clarity of my innocence was stark before all. Instead of supporting, they decided that together they're going to rival me. They decided that together they're going to revile me. They decided that together they're going to come against an innocent woman, even though the evidence is clear that she's innocent. Bottom line is, together in their many numbers, they agreed that they're going to keep me lowly. Because what's about lowly? They knew they had cast spells. They were but a Cain conglomerate who kills Abel. That's who they are. They're a Cain who kills Abel. And after killing Abel, they say, I'm not my brother's keeper. They thoroughly do not take responsibility for their actions. When God basically asks them, what happened to your brother? His blood is crying out from the ground to me. They respond by saying, am I my brother's keeper? They act like they didn't do it. They gaslight the living daylights out of you. They pretend that they did not just decimate an entire future. They act as if though one of their baddest and brightest in the room did not just unfortunately, albeit be innocent, be mistreated by a conglomerate of miscreants. So when I say, understand that the wicked in doing a strange thing are typical, they are typical. They are typical. They find each other, they band with one another against one innocent person or two or three. And it is upon making an observation of the mistreated collectively state of this person that makes them then stick to their unfortunate guns. And so they revile an innocent person. But like I said earlier when I started, humanity is inherently self-preserving. The Lord God Almighty has seen it fit to make that a thing, you guys. And so because God has seen it fit to make that a thing, we don't, upon falling, crackling up a storm, the majority of us anyway, just dive into self-destruction. Most of us grab an engine, we try. We keep trying over and over again. And it is this perseverance. The Bible says that do not grow weary of doing good, for in due season you will reap the fruits of that particular labor if you don't give up. By the amazing, lovely grace of the King of the universe, even the lowly, even the cowardly, even the menaces of society that don't know Jesus somewhat grasp this point. So frankly, victims of witches tend to show witches up eventually when they recover from whatever these miscreants of society do. These menaces to society, these denizens all over the show, ultimately are met with victims overcoming what was done to them. Especially when you belong to the body of Christ. So witches expose themselves. It's like a whole thing. You see it in their lives from the beginning up until they die. Like at some, they start out all happy. It's like properly their engagement with the occult is, it takes on the curve of a parabola. It takes on the shape of a parabola. It is initially an exponential incline to what they imagine as grandiose glory. They then start to plateau the living daylights out of themselves, and then they exponentially plunge afterwards. It ends in hollow. It ends in naught for them, guys, in zero, in whoops, I did it again. Except you didn't. Like, what's going on here is that God handled you. Whoops. Yeah, like proper whoops. Whoops. That's how they're ousted out of the door, out of the way. That's how they're moved into a strange little spot, okay? Their parabolic journey to, like, self-destruction properly is predictable. They tend to, in their numbers, support their shoddy selves together against innocent people that tend to be outnumbered in their ecosystem, but they plateau. Their graph is, like I said, pretty much like a parabola, but they also are like ones who have got diminishing marginal returns, okay? Every single new unit of satisfaction that they hope to gain from witchcraft decreases ever so marginally with each new spell they cast. They get less and less successful over time, and then eventually they just get exposed. The thing that exposes them, what is the thing that diminishes their returns to a point of basically flatlining asymptotally on the x-axis? What is that thing? It is the observation by the world around them of the bullies they became. It is the observation by the world around them of the teasers they became, of the revilers they became, of the mean-spirited saboteurs that they became, because of, again, the observation by society around them of the comeuppance, or rather the rise, the recompense, the recovery of their victim. It is when their victims rise again, you guys. that they look really very bad. And it is also in the pursuit of recovery, in the pursuit of restoration, you guys, yeah, that they look really bad. I mean, they're out here mocking and teasing a person that's really struggling to make ends meet. And the run-up to, they're so mean. In the run-up to, they're so nasty. In the run-up to, they're so mean, guys, that everybody eventually catches on to them, right? So they revile a human individual. Revile, 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 except you're gonna get found wanting. They revile an individual, and then everybody that did not know the situation that slaps the individual at first will believe them until they don't. They will believe them until they don't. Because literally, something is fishy. It kind of stank over here. Something is rotten. I'm not really sure. I can't tell what it is, but I'm not really like 100% in agreement with you that Karabo is irresponsible. Yeah, it starts to stank. That's what's good. They're a little cadaver. They're a little corpse. It stank now. The person that they have accused of wrongdoing is at the end of the day that guy with the 5 talents making 5 more. Like literally they've never stopped being that guy or that girl. The person is still the person making 2 more talents since they already had 2 more. They've always been hardworking and they've never stopped. They've always invested in growing their talents and they've never stopped. They've always been that girl to pitch for the meeting when everybody is hooking up a rain check, okay? It's always the person that pushes and strives no matter the circumstance. And so the amount of envy that culminates against such an individual as this evidences eventually as exactly just that, envy. It eventually just looks like Mona. It eventually just looks like jealousy. Initially, it looks as if though Karabo is irresponsible. She dropped the ball. She went crazy. But over time, guys, time, guys, time, time, time. Time itla go hlaza o le moloi. Time is okipha ezwa. It'll literally reveal the living daylights of the creepy, crappy thing that you have always been. Time, you guys, time, time. When a person is self-preserving and they don't want to just wallow in the wind, twist in the dust, because that's what society will have them do. The gossiped girl, the one that everybody spoke about, that they were trash, if she's self-preserving because she belongs to the king, if this person has no interest in dying, if this person really wants to survive, and they keep trying, and they try, and they try, and they try. Try. No try, no give up for what, say. Me gonna try, even though you're telling me spitting on my shoe, that was the point. You are never gonna get anywhere. Forget it, so I try, me I go try. Again and again, you gonna know what time it is. Again and again. Yeah, but if at first you don't succeed, that's what me I go try it. Try it, It is this very trying activity that then eventually, even before they gain their breakthrough, makes these menaces look like menaces. When a person that you said was crazy, you called her crazy. You said she's crazy, dumb and crazy, totally. And then the Lord made a decision to give her gifts. You will remember, you once thought she's a crazy girl. Come on now, who do you think you are? Girly girl arriving every time. Well, you're gonna lose your control. Well, now they look crazy. Now they look crazy for calling me crazy. Finally, Mona, the people who envy, the envied, are so abusive. They're so full of sabotage. They're so full of manipulation that eventually they just look like monsters. At the victim that they're dealing with. Eventually, they look like monsters. They end up looking like monsters because they will have sat back, stood back, done nothing, and then, no, done nothing except, of course, revile. They will look at a person that is suffering, a person that is struggling, an individual that has gone through a lot, and they will claim they brought it on themselves. They're standing back, aloof disposition. They're unintervening, general way about themselves, even though the person in question ought to be one that they care a lot more about, like with my family, for instance. The fact that they stand back, their apathy, their negligence, that makes them look crazy. It makes them look crazy. It makes them look so crazy, incredibly. It makes them look like saboteurs of note. And so for those reasons, their victims always get vindicated even before they get their day in court. They look like victims. Their victims end up looking not so much like irresponsible randos, but like victims of jealousy. And that's exactly what's happening with me. I did not just sit back and allow the fate that befell me to continue to brew, grow mold, and be thrown away in a dustbin. I chose to dry and dry and dry. I grabbed an ice pick and I climbed up a mountain. I saw it fit to unfreeze my life. I wore a big chunky mink coat in this Antarctic environment and I burned some wood. Do you understand? Trying to rebuild my life and find my bearings again, and I am still trying. And even though I am yet to get my breakthrough, bottom line is this, you guys, my attempts are making all of them look so mean, so cold, so full of negligence, abandonment, and so therefore evidently, just obviously clearly in your face, jealous. It is clearer than day. Do you understand? It has never been more clear. The person with the 5 talents is the smart girl. She's the genius. She's the one that used to slay you in school when it comes to tests. She's the one that did better. The one with the strong career initially that somehow miraculously, strangely just fell apart. The one that was always responsible. The one that was always leaving the party early. The one that got the driver's license first. The one that got the strong job first. The one that was always annoying. The one that was always calling a rain check when everybody wanted to drink to a stupor. The one that was a designated driver because she was the only one that didn't drink alcohol among a group of friends. Yeah, that's always the one that they suddenly overnight in Jeffela make a decision to say she went crazy. Overnight, like just like that. It is always the irresponsible girl or the guy in the room that the friends will gather against and claim they went crazy one day. And that's what happened with me. Having no record of any such typical irresponsibilities in my bones. They literally banded together and said that I went crazy. And guess what their excuse was? The very thing that now today is vindicating me. My recovery to Jesus Christ. My born-again life. The fact that I gave my life to God, they made a decision to call me a member of a cult. They said that I went crazy and silly religious, belonging to some kind of a cultic concern that was not really Christian, because they could not recognize my Christian walk in themselves, given that they were professing Christians, however lukewarm. So because I went super hard for God and was now very serious, always in church, doing all these things, when then everything in my life fell apart, they were like, of course, she joined a cult. People, when they join cults, such things eventually happen to them. They called my radical Christianity, where I'm super duper hot for God, not lukewarm, made them use that as an excuse to account for why they neglected me, stood back, did nothing, because apparently I was just spinning on the spot, crazy in religion of which does not save, because it's more like a cult as opposed to Christianity. And this cult of hers made her like mess up in her job. This cult of hers made her mess up at school. This cult of hers made her mess up her family. Like, she just became someone that was barely recognizable anymore. She just went super like religious and then became a freak. But she was so glorious once upon a time. They used my Christianity as an excuse for why they abandoned me, treated me that way, continued to revile me, mess up with my name, and all that jazz. That's what's good. That is exactly that, reviling. They did all that hoping that it's going to stick, and I mean, for 5 seconds it did. For 5 entire seconds, it did stick until it just started to rather look suspect that apparently I lost my bearings using religion. Why? Because that very religion that they accused me for joining a cult in is the thing that has now today made me look so above reproach that they can't argue with me. The cult I joined, right? Because that's what they call it. A cult, you guys. I am Joseph Smith now. Starting Mormonism. That's what's good. I'm Ellen G. White now. Out here deceiving the Seventh-day Adventists. That's what I'm doing. I'm out here properly starting a cult. Because of Jehovah's Witness Santi. Yeah, I'm properly, like, I'm in a mountain somewhere telling people to commit suicide as a batch and go into heaven. That's what I belong to. That cult of mine kept me pure, made sure that I don't fornicate. That cult of mine made sure that I don't compromise, I don't lie on my CV, that I do not do things basically that would give me my life back via shoddy, underhanded means. It has kept me on the straight and narrow, waiting on no one but an invisible God in the sky to deliver me. All I've done is pray, all I've done is fast, and all I've done is wait, therefore, for breakthrough on an invisible God. I have not dabbled with witchcraft. I have not allowed myself to get rammed into by some filthy little Dumbo man and make me baby mama number 7, and then I go and I become baby mama number 5 of some other man, and then I become baby mama number 2 of another man, baby mama number 20 of another guy, and so have 4 babies by 4 different baby daddies because I was trying to use men to get my life back. I didn't do any of that. I did not walk in anything that would make me look like an irresponsible woman. Instead, I waited on God. I didn't go and wreck a home. I didn't make like Alicia Keys out here in these streets being jealous of the girlfriend, although she's just a girl that is your friend. Next thing, she's actually taken Swiss Beats. Yeah, well, you ought to have been jealous of that girlfriend. That's what's good. Yeah, I didn't make like a Gabrielle Union and taken some poor woman's man. I stood on Christian virtue, and for those reasons I am such a good girl that is obviously so badly mistreated right now that that very cult that I joined appears to have rescued me. So now it looks more like a proper organized religion instead of a destructive cult. Now it looks like a faith-based relationship with Jesus Christ that they claim to have, that they don't of course have, because they're not bearing fruit. They're not taking care of their fellow man. They're not loving their neighbor, and on top of that they have gone on right ahead and reviled my name and said that I am some filthy irresponsible woman, and then my YouTube channel speaks different volumes. They said I'm crazy, you guys, and they said I've lost my mind, you guys. Yeah, 2 different things here, you know, like crazy as in you've joined a cult, and on top of that your brain is lost. And then they click on my videos on YouTube and listen to a very eloquent, sharp woman dealing with a lot of abuse, trying to survive it every day, and uploading that life as a living epistle on YouTube and anywhere else that she can upload it, and now they just look like a bunch of abusers. Time I keep a listen. Time exposes these little doggy dogs. They try to make me look like some super religious freaky person that people's children should basically avoid. They try to make me look like the woman that mothers warn their kids about. Yeah, don't talk to that lady even though she gives you a cookie on the street, hey? Because then she's going to recruit you into a cult because you're young and impressionable. They properly tried to make me look like that. Can't even trust me with your babies. Can't trust me to rock them in my hands on some rockabye, baby, rockabye. I'm gonna love you, rock. I can't do that. Yeah, despite having been the one woman in the family that so loved children that she could raise an entire creche of them. And now they're making me look like I can't even hold their babies, lest I should sneeze my cultic dust. Except my cultic dust is the very thing that makes their babies more safe in my environment than theirs. I had a dream last night, you guys. I had a dream I was locked outside your house. I had a dream you were calling me some crazy creep. Mamelang, in this dream, my cousin with a man that was her high school sweetheart that corrobelled her when she wanted to leave him. Yes, so he kept her in the relationship with the witchcraft. Yeah, roofies, that's what's good. She tried to leave, and then next thing she was out here, baby mama and everything. I had a dream of her, Momo Jagating, coming to trying looking for a babysitter for her child with this deadbeat husband of hers. Relationship being. I had a dream of this cousin of mine. That's what's good. Like I said, looking for a babysitter, and I was available, proper, happy to kind of help On some, I'll take care of your kid during the day while you go and do whatever, because yeah, I'm trustworthy and I can be trusted indeed with your babies. And guess what this rando done did? Both her and her husband, let's just put that out there, tried to make, wait for it, my lip piercing. Ooh, look at that. My lip piercing and my septum, basically my piercings, okay? Maybe even the ones over here, moditseving type setup thing. Try to make me look like I'm some punk rock irresponsible person that is frankly smoking, is it hashish or pot or snuffing a line of cocaine or whatever type establishment thing. Try to make it look as if though I just lost my bearings, fell incredibly apart, pierced my whole face. Can't be trusted now because who knows, I might just be high on like matekwani or something, so I can't touch a baby. Ooh. I've even touched up my lipstick. Yeah, my piercings, basically this fashion look. I'm a very creative, colorful, kaleidoscopic girl, and I've always loved things that are creative, kaleidoscopic and all that jazz. So of course when I lost a job and couldn't work in corporate South Africa anymore, I basically went to town with my look. Like a proper date. Like things I've always wanted to do, couldn't do them because I was out here gathering a random like salary in some Dumbo company, having to keep up with company standards. So, look at the lipstick, my goodness. So who in the world is going to like, get an industrial piercing? Who in the world is going to get a little bit of a tragus? Who in the world is going to be getting a septum piercing? Who in the world is going to be piercing their helix and whatnot when they've always wanted to? When you're in corporate South Africa, like, you gotta keep it neat and basic. Just the ones on the low, maybe they might give you one shot at a helix, but really that's it. Maybe they might allow you to get one tragus, but you can forget about a nose, you can forget about a septum and all that jazz. I'm a creative, and unfortunately, because back in the day I thought that maybe doing a typical job in corporate where I'm pushing paper and crunching numbers is what's going to pay a salary, I did not pursue my creative, thing that I was doing. So I did not go for like fashion design. I didn't go for music. I did basically a career, you guys, where I can pierce my lip if I want. I can like properly just get, I don't know, like purple hair. Yeah, I would have done that if I could, but I was a project manager / program manager for some stiff-necked, uppity, corporate in South Africa, so I had to look kind of neat. And so when I lost everything, I was like, whatever, bah, whatever, bah, whatever, bah, and I'm still on that tip, properly. But they're trying to make me look like I'm irresponsible, so herein lies the deal. Herein lies the circumstance, okay? In this dream, this cousin was trying to make me look like I'm some punk rock, basically bordering on like snuffing lines of cocaine. Okay, wait a second, more lifing. I'm Biotelu DJ Zintle, that she is an irresponsible cocaine line snuffer, okay? That cannot be trusted to take care of the young Cairo. I'm Biotelu DJ Zintle, or go to Pearl Tusi and tell her that Pearl, your daughter has absolutely no business. Daughters have no business being in your hands right now because you out here walking these streets with a septum piercing. These are artists, do you understand, in the entertainment industry, and because they are working jobs that are very artistic, don't nobody out there be trying to control what lipstick color they wear, what kind of makeup they put on, what ears they put on, because their jobs are in the creative space. I get to do that. I had a friend who was is maybe still a fashion designer. Total stab in my back over there. Yeah, that's what's good. However, prior to this random stabbing a lady chica in the bag, I used to basically covet everything that she was, because she got to do everything I wanted to do. She was the first one to get like a whole line of piercings on her helix, going from top to the bottom of her ear, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, why do I have to be a project manager? Why? Yeah, no, that friend, that one, yeah, the one that is the fashion designer that got to even rock like very eccentric hair, because she could, she worked a job that allowed her to be as eccentric looking as she possibly can. I was close with her at some point, and when we were in varsity age, before we both got jobs in corporate, we used to experiment with all different kinds of looks together. But then, I became a suit, but she continued in a like colorful career, and I longed after her freedom with her look. which I could not embark on. So as soon as I lost everything, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go do what I want to do. When Septums came in, I was like, I like it, it looks cute, especially when I saw it on Pearl Juicy. I was like, yo, there was a woman on YouTube, regular Jane, right? Not a celebrity or whatever, but she's got quite a big YouTube channel. I was listening to her basically during the time when I was healing with my industrial, something that I also saw on someone, because you know we influence each other, creatives. We create the trends in each other's lives. So I saw the industrial on Nelly's son, right? Nelly, the it's getting hot in here, so hot. Is it Nelly? Is that Nelly? Whatever. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, Nelly's son. I saw Nelly had like I loved the industrial on Nelly's son's ear. I was like, whoa, what is that? What is that? What is that? And I found out that it was called an industrial, and that's what inspired me to get an industrial. And during the time when my industrial was healing, okay, during the season when my industrial was healing, I then went to look for counsel as to how to sleep on my ear and whatnot, because it was violently painful, okay? And I happened upon people who therefore pierce a lot and all that jazz. That's what's good. And there was this one woman by the name, I think her name is Genevieve, okay, on the internet. I don't know if she still has it. I saw what she called a vertical bread on her lip, and I was like, what? She was basically explaining the healing process with her own industrial, and she also had a vertical lip bread. And when I saw it, I was like, what? Like, it's so cute, it's so pretty, it is so pretty, it is so pretty. I then went on right ahead and pierced my own lip. Like, yeah, I did my own piercing. So okay, fine, the industrial was done professionally, but my septum, I did it myself. My nose, I did it myself. So too did I do my own lip piercing. Why? Because I was bored, I was doing nothing, I was going nowhere, my life sucked. So I wanted to see whether or not I can't get all of my wildest dreams come true, seeing as I'm now unemployed. That's what's good. Did that make me irresponsible? No, it did not make me irresponsible, because I was still 100% Christian, and I was still 100% in pursuit of my future. I was still striving and thriving. I was still above reproach. I was still not fornicating. I was still karabo, just karabo with a particular artistic preference. I got a vertical lip bread. And then a couple of years down the line, I then got a septum piercing. That's all that then I have on my face. And these people are trying to make it look like I'm irresponsible because of that. Genevieve, of which, let's just put it out there, is a wife and mother to some very happy children and a happy husband. So she can like basically raise a child from the age of 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 with a vertical bread. Look at that. And a man can make an honest woman out of her with a vertical bread. She did not look like a hard knock grunge heavy metal, let's go and take drugs. It looks like you're obviously irresponsible with the piercings, lady. She just looked like an artist with an eccentric look that just so happens to, you know, prefer to look a particular way. That's what's good. And she also is a mom, is a businesswoman, is a like proper. What are you doing? Like, those are the benefits of not working a corporate job. You are not restricted to only having these lobe piercings te borang. Masale a mmewa how a go tempang o so tsebe lo bua. You can do what you want to do insofar as you don't obviously dishonor the image of God in the way that you look. That's what's good. So, given that I've always been an artist, a little bit of a, you know, eccentric lady, I got to do what I wanted to do, because y'all, like, you kicked me out of corporate South Africa. You made sure I cannot be a boring, regular, no-brainer suit, just walking around envying the living daylights out of the helix piercing on the ear of a friend. That's what's good. So I'm Banyolanda, a fashion designer, former friend of mine, and then go and call her irresponsible for having like literally a whole bunch of piercings all from the top to the bottom of her helix, from the helix all the way down to her earlobes. Irresponsible. You wouldn't do that. Why? Because she's thriving, she is successful, she is doing what she needs to do with her life, she is not gathering dust out here in these streets, she is raising up some kind of a legacy for herself. And so you're not going to go on right ahead and just zoom in to her ecosystem with your tarnished disposition and call her irresponsible for Then, let us go on right ahead to communicate about Bontle Modiselle, or now she's married to Pretty Ugly, whatever their common surname is now. Yeah, Bontle is the biggest reason why you cannot call me irresponsible. Bontle is properly a me that never even thought about corporate South Africa. Bontle is a me that didn't even dare, even like try to do random things that were against her artistic flair. She just ran with it from the get-go. She's a dancer. She is a an artist, a creative in that regard. That's who Buntle is, right from the get-go. Become accounting at Wits. It was like, this is what I'm going to pursue, and that's it. Buntle, her journey at the piercings, I don't know what she's looking like right now, but she's got a vertical labret just like me. She's got this nose piercing just like me. She's got a septum just like me, and a couple of earrings. After marrying, she's a mother now. After marrying, we're pretty ugly. And if you look at Bontle Modisele's piercings or her face, with the same piercing, she's literally got the exact same, at least facial piercings as me. Exact same. She started out with just a vertical labret and this piercing. Then she went on right ahead to get a septum later on. Just like me, literally the whole journey. It was exactly the same. And I wasn't inspired by Bontle's look. I already had many of the piercings that Bontle had by the time that I found out about her. And Bontle, when you look at her, she just looks like a person like me on the left and on the right. She does not have a grungy, gothic, ugly, like she just looks like an artist. However, not one that is grunge. That's you get my point. She's clean. That's what I'm getting at. She could easily basically swap her dance career or whatever she's doing for a 9-to-5 corporate job without changing much on her and be acceptable. That's what's good. And like I said, mother as well as a wife. Would you be scared to give your baby as a babysitter for the danger fella because you have things to do, you gotta study, or you're writing an exam? Would you not want to give your baby to Zintle because of her septum piercing, because of her nose piercing, because of her lip, her tragus? What in the world? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, Papa, I've got like 2 tragus piercings here, for instance. I pierced myself. It was painful like no man's business, but I did all this work on my own. The only piercings that I did not do for myself, the industrial is the only one. Everything else I did it myself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I don't have money. I'm broke. I'm poor. I'm just like, what? My life sucks. All right. Yeah. So whatever little money that I did happen upon, I got an industrial. It was too expensive. I knew that I could not go back to the piercer, but then I got the rest myself. I did them myself. And so basically I gained a skill. Yog piercer. Line jartin. Seki fodile now, not getting any more piercings, that's what's good. One day maybe I might remove my piercings. One day when I'm like, I don't know, 50 or 70 or whatever. I don't even think that'll happen because I believe the rapture is going to happen first. One day. One day. But until then, until that date, ain't nobody gonna get all up in my grill upon observing my life and also looking at my face and call me irresponsible because I've got piercings on my face. It's 2023. What are you doing? It's 2023. Not only that, like, you are probably trying to find anything at all to attack, anything at all to mock on my life. Nothing has changed. I've always been the creative, just one that was stifled by corporate South Africa. And now that I am out of there, I'm doing what I want to do with my face, with my body, insofar as I don't dishonor the Lord. But y'all, this cousin of mine in my dream, oh, this random cousin, and her husband, with whom she stayed because of Ikorobela, properly did not trust me with their baby. In the dream, the vibe I was getting was because I was pierced all over my face. They are properly trying to make it look like I am some like random irresponsible. Goodness gracious, look, you know, there are so many people that I can raise up to the surface right now that you all respect for one reason or another, that have got the same piercings that I have, but precisely because of the position that I find myself in and my life and my spiritual affiliations, you probably are trying to make me look like something that I'm not. Men will revile you, they'll call you all different kinds of things on the account in the name of the Lord, precisely because of the fact that you have given your life to Him. Great is your reward in heaven, in the same way they have persecuted the fathers who came before you. I grabbed my 5 talents and I made 5 more, and an observing band of miscreants around me made a decision when stuff started to fall apart in my life that they're gonna stand with each other against me because they had always envied me, and now they are worse off. Why? Because I have now gone on to do exactly what I want anyway, because I'm not restricted, like I said, by some dull building chilling off 14th Avenue. I am not restricted by corporate South Africa, so I am as artistic as I could have ever been. This thing that people have put me in has brought out the full-on, full-throttle artist that I am. Like I told you, Uzbuntle Mudisele and I are the same thing. Only difference is that I chose to be a suit first. The same thing. So, to speak of me like irresponsible or willing, make like a flower. Chilang ditweba, relaxang, batagati kupali blooming, hang 10, yay, inhale and exhale, release some CO2, and anoint loud shrubs sitting there at the World Economic Forum. Hey, carbon emissions, do that. Hang if I inhale. And stop afflicting me with insults. In my dream, this cousin and her husband, Omujisi saying, let's just put that out there, did not trust me with the baby, right? Even though I was happy to basically babysit the baby. And then they went and they gave the baby rather to my baby sister. I do not know how many times I have seen in my dream a desire to spur up a rivalry where I am violently jealous of my 17 years younger than me little sister. They are trying to replace me with my baby sister, and they're trying to make me envy her so that I will imagine that she is my replacement. Except we are in two different generations. She's a Gen Z, I'm a millennial, and over and above it, she is a baby to me. I could have been her mom. I will always look at her that way. So competition will never ever rise up in me. It's her time to shine. It's her season to fly. But they want to literally pit me up against my little sister so that I will feel like I'm worthless, given that she is doing everything that I once was doing. You're not gonna make me fight with a child. You're not. And it is precisely because of the age gap between my sister and I that even she's not interested in going to war with me like that. Like properly. She's living her own life. I'm living my own. However, the whole family is trying to compete me with her. Like, yes, it's so crazy. Like, that's the thing about witchcraft, you guys. You get reduced to that. You want me, you realize that there is nothing enviable about y'all. Because y'all have messed up your lives. Y'all have married men that korobelad you. Y'all have been married to women that korobelad you. Y'all have messed up your entire ecosystems. Your cousins are no longer the same. Everything you started basically is falling apart. And so since there's nothing enviable about your lives, you now want me to envy the life of a child. What is going on? Where's Alang? So when they gave the baby to my baby sister, I was like, okay, if you want to give my baton to my little sister, you are setting her up for failure. You are putting her in shoes that are much too big. We are two different people from two different dads with two different gene codes, with two different trajectories, two different generations that we were born into, and so therefore two different missions, two different lifestyles. She doesn't have the same lifestyle I used to have when I was on the come up. We are two different souls. So to try and make somebody fit into a bodysuit of someone on a completely different trajectory and vice versa, to try and put me in her trajectory is to set me up for failure. And to put her in my trajectory is to set her up for failure. My little sister has never been an academic or somebody that was interested in things of school and whatnot. So to try and map her in my shoes is to force her to go and enroll at Wits University and study a BCom of sorts when she is doing a different thing with her life. She has followed after her father, who was more of an entrepreneur, going to go and make his own and do his thing out there in the future without ever perusing the aisles of a university. And there is no disrespect of that. There is no dishonor of that. That is her journey, and she gets to walk it. We are two different people that followed two different trajectories, but because I am suffering and I'm lowly, and I'm going through what I'm going through, they properly want to pit me up against a child. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? If at all I had never been tripped up, I would have, what is this? My relationship with her, yes, would have been a relationship between sisters, but we would not have had the same interests, commonalities. Literally, she is so different from me and my older sister that it makes no sense to try and compare us. No sense. She was literally born in a completely different era and age with completely different interests, doing a completely different thing, and that different thing that she wants to do has been respected. Nobody has tried to force her to be like me or my older sister, yet witchcraft and jealousy is thoroughly trying to cause my little sister to gnash her teeth upon looking at me and vice versa. It's crazy. Just because you are not worthwhile to be competed with because you have fallen, you're then using a child. In my dream, unlike what would happen in waking life, I found myself getting jealous of my baby sister because she's replaced me and now they've given her the baby to take care of because she ain't got no piercings. That's just the thing, you see. Like, my little sister and I are not the same. She does not have an interest in getting this piercing or that one. But then again, maybe she does because she's been thrown into corporate South Africa, just like I was in the beginning of her career. That's what's good. So it is important that she not rock up there with piercings on her face. Who knows what she would have done if at all she was not thrown into that environment. You cannot compete me with a person much too young. Y'all who are in competition with me, let us compete. Let us get in a cockpit. To a point where you would pit me against a person that is much too young for me to be competing with. By the time that I'm done running and huffing and puffing, wheezing in my chest, this chick will still be doing 10 other laps because she's that much younger than me. I'm not about to set myself up for failure by competing with a 22-year-old, with a 23-year-old. I'm not doing it. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I don't regret decisions I made in my past. The thing that causes witches to regret losing their youth is the fact that they don't use it well. I have used my youth well. Like, let's just understand this, okay? I was the responsible one. I told you guys. I was the designated driver because I was the one that was not drinking. I was the one that got a man that was on drugs off drugs because I was the responsible girlfriend. And then I gave my life to Christ at the tiny age of 26 and a half. So I started to be responsible with my decisions and I stopped fornicating and all that jazz at 26. Ever since then, I have been persecuted like no man's business. It has been 12 entire years that I have been in sorrow, suffering like no man's business for Jesus. I'm suffering for doing what is good. I don't regret a single thing. If anything, the only thing I regret is not turning to Christ earlier. The only thing I regret is ever having fornicated. I regret ever having done anything at all that dishonored God. I wish I was raised in a Christian family where I joined youth group and from very young, I just loved the Lord and stayed chaste. Those are the only things I regret. But I don't regret choosing Christ. And I also do not regret suffering persecution. Because if anybody wants to live a life in godliness, they will suffer persecution. I have been reviled and thrown out the synagogues and mistreated by family. Matthew 10. From now on, a man's enemies will be members of their own households. How can I regret other people's mistakes in my life? It literally just does not make any sense. How am I expected to regret the decisions that my cousins made against me? They hurt me. I did not hurt them. They put me in a position to not have friends, not have them, not have family. They made the errors against me. But to a point where I was then, of course, there's nothing I could do about it. There was nothing I could do about their betrayal of me. They betrayed me, not the other way around. If perhaps I had betrayed them, I then might have all manner and reason to feel regret for decisions I made. I did not grab a knife and drive it into the back of any of them. They did it to me. So being the victim, and so therefore being sabotaged and being laid waste and being destituted and being made to live like a homeless woman and being made to live like a familyless woman, that was not on me. I did not go and snuff lines of cocaine until I was so irresponsible that I broke away from my family, and so now I'm like a prodigal daughter that must go back home. They are the ones that snuffed lines of cocaine and so therefore severed me from having them as family. The betrayal here is one way. It's from them to me, making me a victim that cannot do anything about their betrayal of me. I therefore can never regret anything because I could never have done anything different. Regret is premised on the grounds that you could have done different. I couldn't have done any different. I did what was the absolute perfect thing to do. I was trying to evangelize them. I was trying to lead them to Jesus. I also gave my life to the Lord. And so that is the right thing to have done. I can never regret that. Their reaction to my redemption is the thing that ought cause them regret and not me. They are asking me to regret choosing Jesus because that's what made them mistreat me? I'm sorry. I'm suffering for Jesus even though you have taken away an entire decade of my life. I'm turning 40 next year in August. I'm 39 right now. Do you understand? I just turned 39. Now got August. That's what's good. Having entered into this thing at the age of 29, almost a decade that I have been placed in this position. It will be 10 years next year when I am in this position. It'll be 10 years because it was my 29th year going on my 30th year where I was thrust into this rubbish in 2014. That's what's good. It's 2023 now. In 2024, it's going to be 10 whole years suffering. If there would have been anything at all that I could have done about this, if there could have been anything at all that I could have done about this, then I would have done it. I have tried to get my life back together again. It has been their sabotage that has prevented me. It has been their witchcraft, their perpetual spell casting, and all that jazz, and also their reviling, the disrepute that they have slayed me through. They have dragged my name through the mud, making it very hard for me to gain opportunities anywhere. And so for those reasons, I'm struggling. But like a person that's trying and trying and trying to live after somebody left them for dead on the side of the street, how can I ever regret being thrown on the side of the street? How can I regret that? It is not me who did that. They did it. They did it. So they are the ones that are in a position to violently regret what they've done to me. If anything, they already do. They already do. So to expect me to envy their lives when they are in so much severe regret is naive. I did not lose my wits one day. They did. There was nothing I could do about it. So that's the thing that exposes them. The fact that I am obviously above reproach. Years, time has proven my innocence. And even though I'm yet to gain my life back again, it is clear that they've been saboteurs. So as much as witches might love to imagine that they can get away with all different kinds of murder and then band together against their victims, bottom line is time always reveals your nakedness. Because you inevitably walk in a very mean, sabotaging disposition against your victims. You band against them, you club against them, you lie about them, and because human beings are naturally self-preserving, when then they fight for their lives, when then they try to get back their lives, when then they try to fix that which was broken, that becomes the thing that makes you look like a negligent freak. That then is the thing that makes you look like a sabotaging freak. That makes you look like an unnecessary person. That makes you look gratuitous and unwarranted in afflicting them. It just makes you look really bad. Over time, they look really satanic. So time exposes them. Therefore, whether or not I have my life right now is irrelevant. That dream with my family trying to still, like I keep getting dreams where they're trying to pit me against my sister, my little sister. You're naive. I then also had another dream where my older sister was like, only on the day when this Jesus of yours gives you what you ask for, like a husband and some children and what have you, then I will maybe perhaps consider Christianity. And guys, all I could think when I woke up from that dream was, the Bible says, a wicked and a perverse generation seeks after a sign, and they will be given no sign other than the sign of Jonah. Essentially, the disappearance of a person. When a person disappears from society, you are without excuse. When under heaven you do not react with the appropriate response. You ought be guilty, you ought be regretful, you ought be trying to recover that situation back to what it used to be, and your absence of activity in that regard evidences your insanity. And so when you die on the spot, having been given no mercy, understand you had it coming. When you suddenly find yourself in the flames of hell, you had it coming. I told you, I am not getting married. I told you, I'm not getting the children. I told you, I'm only going to be given an apartment so that I can live in a better space. I'm going to be given a Mac computer, a laptop, an ability to basically earn a small salary until I get in the rapture. That's what God is giving me, and He's going to give it to me through my fitness ministry. So my sister will never see me marrying. She will never see me getting a husband, because that is all happening, and I will say this in a loop in the millennial reign. Whether or not you want to believe me, I unpacked that, extrapolated it, blah, blah, from the scriptures. Believe me or not, you're just going to have to wait for time to tell. So they're basically going to be waiting for God to deliver me, and then God won't. He will just rapture me. And that will be the sign that they get. A wicked and a perverse generation seeks after a sign they will not be given it other than the sign of Jonah. Then a third dream that I got involved the satanic buffoon from the United States of America. The little mean streak was crying. I call him a mean streak because he's just a very mean man. Like, he came into the life of a woman that was already suffering and then just made life worse. Well, he was busy crying at my wedding to a man because he was busy imagining in his mind the prospect of me marrying some other guy. And this wedding was, the groom was wearing a very tarnished black suit while I was walking down the aisle all happy. God was showing me these people are just, they're untrainable. Like, I'm not getting married. Because things are so bad right now that there is no joy to be had by Christians in proliferating a future. The Lord is finishing up, gathering those that are going to get in the ark, and we're going home. We're going home. I'm not getting married. Because any man that would come into my life from this point forward, the Lord has made it clear as crystal. It's going to be some shady, dingy, dark thing that is going to walk me down the aisle, having studied my life very carefully to not trip up in the same way that all other guys have, just so he can get me to say I do, and then he will flip on me inside a marriage and be my persecutor. So even this animal in the US fears something that's not coming. Why? Because he has no faith that we're in the last days. Because he's never believed in Jesus. Therefore, wonke umuntu persecuting the living daylights out of me, hoping that my sorrowful life and me turning 40 next very soon, like I'm 39, I might as well be 40, right? Me sitting around, basically gathering dust at the back of my mom's house, trying to find workarounds, loss of software to do edits, blah blah. Sorrow, every day, wire, same thing, on a loop. If you think Uguti, this is evidence that my Jesus does not care about me and he's forsaken me, y'all are about to know and understand that he has never been more catering than he has been with me than in this present moment. Just last night after working out, I heard him sing me the song in the ear, I'll help you stay with me through the dark and the light. I rewrote Sam Smith's song, Stay With Me, to speak about Jesus saying that he's going to help me stay with him. Okay, if you've been watching my content for any amount of time, you will know that song. You will know what I've done. I've uploaded all that stuff, all the songs I redid, blah blah, etc. He re-sang me that song, telling me I'm going to help you stay with me all the way up until I come in and grab the bride. God is grabbing the church, and he's not intending on flipping my life in a way so as to make all my cousins jealous because I got my future. Hey, who in the world wants to live like that? Who wants to live among a family member set that's not happy when you get married, not happy when you have babies, or not happy when you get your future, not happy when you start a business? Who wants to live among such jealous freaks? Who wants to have that much for losses? So no, I am not getting my future, not here, because there is no future here. This earth is done, it's dusted. We're going home, reigning with Christ for 1,000 years after 7 years, the interval of which y'all's gonna be getting lamb basted. Lamb basted. Do you understand? Lamb basted. You guys, just lamb basted by Jesus. I then, upon waking up, had a vision of that same cousin with the Gorobela husband. Yes, that's what's good. Walking around with a walking stick, old like no man's business, giving money to like a coffer or some kind of collection plate at a church or something. But as an old woman, guys, like the Lord keeps showing me wicked people. These people, babuloi, sabotage, these witches. Yeah, being old, in severe regret, in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. However, this time around, serving God, but from a vantage point where they are observing around them glorious bodies of Christians that were resurrected, glorious bodies of Christians that were caught up in the sky to meet the Lord in the air, living in immortal bodies that never age while they age. It's their judgment. My family's judgment. My family's judgment is the fact that I'm like Joseph to them. They will eventually be restored to God. However, after years of abandoning someone that they are one day going to be under, subject to. That is what the Lord has been showing me in the worst way. And the way that that's going to happen is by the rapture, then the 7-year tribulation, the return of the Lord Jesus Christ with us, and the reign of Jesus. And they will be aging, they will get old, and they will die while they live amidst a people that don't die, don't age, and that are their boss, that are their rulers, that are ruling and reigning with Jesus Christ for 1,000 years. That's their judgment. So today they're looking at me as one that they are hoping to successfully cause to envy a child that is only 22 years old, successfully cause to envy their fallen lives, even though Baji sees way to a point of marrying people that they wanted to leave. They want me to envy lives that are fallen apart. That's the end result of Cain. That is the end result of a person that sheds the blood of an innocent man, that cries out to God. They live like wandering souls in the wilderness, and with no sense of what they used to have. Figments of their imaginations are their former lives. Do you understand? They don't have the same friends they used to have and love. They don't have the same family members they used to have and love. They don't have the same camaraderie with people around them. Nothing is the same anymore. They suffer violently from bouts of nostalgia that remind them of people that they abandoned, that they neglected, that they betrayed. That is how the wicked end up. However, in the run-up to that space, they will revile you. They will speak smack about you. They will club and band together against you, speak horribly. But the thing that it exposes them is the staying power, the perseverance, the rising up over and over again to try and do a better thing of their victims and ultimate breakthrough of their victims as well. That is what handles them. That's what handles them. The Bible says that though a righteous man may fall 7 times, he gets up each time. But the wicked are suddenly overcome by calamity. Exactly. Just the fact that you keep rising and rising, even though you are still falling and falling, and you are yet to get your breakthrough, even that era, that season, that transitory phase from your fallen state to your recovered state is embarrassing. Just the fact that you don't give up, you don't throw in the towel, you are self-preserving. So frankly, endurance and perseverance is the key to defeating the wicked. You don't have to wait for them to change their minds or correct what they said about you, the reviling, for them to take it back. You don't gotta wait for that. You just have to let time embarrass them, because they will never say sorry. They will never retract. They will never try to fix your reputation, because all the way up until you get your breakthrough, they're trying to verify or to solidify the lie against you. So they will incarcerate themselves. They will ensnare themselves while trying to ensnare you. The Bible says that the righteousness of the righteous delivers them, but the wickedness of the wicked ensnares them. They will be caught in their own snares until they are humiliated. And that's exactly what is presently happening with my family. They're doing everything in their power to make me look like this irresponsible no-brainer that, frankly, a child matriculated from high school and started working a job while I am busy on top of the roof, njefela, singing like a canary, rubbish. They are trying to make it look as if I'm so irresponsible that my little sister caught up with me and defeated me, when they know that they're the ones that tripped me up. And they know that I haven't been sitting around gathering dust. I've actually been trying to get my life back, and I will get it back. But in the run-up to, they will stick to their guns. And also in the run-up to, it'll be evident that I am innocent, and they're jealous. Not just them, but former friends. Everybody that lied about me is already humiliated. Like already. It is already embarrassing. But they are comforting themselves in the fact that I'm not getting my life back yet. So when it does eventually get restored to me, when I get my apartment, battle are finished off. They are going to get finished off. They are already right now as we speak. But my recompense is going to finish them off. That's what you must understand. And so because of that, I'm going to constantly just keep getting stones thrown at me, with people hoping to lay me low, put me in the ground. Do you understand? Before I embarrass them once and for all. Because right now, they are cautiously panning the atmosphere, trying to gauge if at all people see what's happening, because I'm yet to rise. But when I rise, it'll be finished for them. It'll be over. And they are trying to block that. So all the best being a villain proper for a career in Jeffel, a life. Nje, you are just a villain, and you pride yourself in sabotaging people and pride yourself in reviling the names of completely innocent people. It has no reward in the end. It has absolutely no reward in the end, but the witches end up looking, it just becomes like a really sore sight for eyes. It becomes a sight for sore eyes, what they become. It's embarrassing. It is humiliating. But in the run-up to them being finished off, they will try to finish what they've started, and only a handful will repent. So, I mean, all I can do at this point is call people to repentance. Like, stop with your witchcraft. If you've started, cease and desist. If you are dabbling, stop. Stop. Because the humiliation is literally going to be your gift. Your reward is going to be a future of violent embarrassment. If you are presently involved in sorcery, stop before you get humiliated by the recompense, by the recovery of your victims. Stop before you get humiliated by their attempts to get out from the snares you put them in, evidencing they're not lazy, evidencing that they are not tarnished spirits with an irresponsible bone in their body, evidencing all manner and kinds of things. Stop. Cease and desist. Stop trying to force women to embrace dirty men that are going to slap them silly, beat them like Ike Turner. My family, like the dude in America, they want me marrying a man that's going to be my handler. They want me marrying a man that is going to take me out of this. I once had a dream of my uncle being like, why in the world and the heaven is marriage the solution to a woman's poverty? Why? Why? Literally go and grab a whole thriving independent woman and put her in some man's house with a wife beater on. Yeah, properly. A whole academic. As smart as I am, how in the world do you think a man that is insecure about holding me hostage is going to treat me? I am going to be a pinata. I'm going to be a punching bag. I thoroughly understand that. I know it. I can never allow myself to be put in that position, but they think that my solution is to go out there and get married. Some man's wife, some evil, nefarious, nightmarish man's wife, over and above it. What? Sabotage and from here to Timbuktu, while also reminiscing about back in the day when I used to be able to make my own money, and now I can't even make a single cent because my husband has held hostage my wealth so that he can be the only person I am leaning on. Because vomit out and defecate out all of your prosperity. They have literally held you hostage, got some kind of a intambo around your neck. And then you think just dream on. It's over. This is done. It is dusted. I am going to be set free by the Lord. I'm going to get my day in court, and on that day you will be fully and finally completely embarrassed. However, you will keep on trying to you will keep trying to marry me off like an arranged marriage in a country that has no regard for the human rights of women. You will probably keep trying to do that. I'm not going to be put in some filthy man's household. I am not going to be the second wife of some random, the third wife, fourth. I am not going to even be the first wife of some irresponsible fool or lawyer. That's another thing that's following me around. Like a child, like a little bit of a 27-year-old, a 26-year-old, a 30-year-old. I get over sugar mama. I'm not doing it. Like proper. I'm not doing anything of that nasty nature because that would be a downgrade from what I would have gained if I had gotten everything I needed on time. I did not get what I needed on time because the Lord never intended for me to get it. So angizo chatiswa, a Ben 10, angizo chatiswa, an older man with 5 kids and 2 ex-wives. I am not going to be married off to some dude I'm not going to get married to some dude that realizes the situation has been tarnished in my life and dire, but I'm still beautiful, so he's just going to take me. A man that's literally asking me out because he knows that if he didn't ask me out, because he knows that if he had tried to pursue me with my life together, he wouldn't have gotten me. When a man is thoroughly aware of the fact that the only game he's got in my life is my poverty, that's not my man. And because I just so happen to have been plonked as a sober woman that's never touched a single spot of alcohol, not even a single drop, because they just so happen to find me in an environment that's channeling, it's not happening. I'm not doing it. I am aware of all the strategies around my life. Generational curse from a bar of soap. As for me and my life and my house, we will serve the Lord. I'm waiting for the rapture, and that's it. And I'm also waiting for my fitness content to monetize, following which I will get an apartment, get out of my mother's house, and finish the work of the gospel that I'm supposed to do before the rapture. And then booyah, I will go, and on that day you will know that I was sent by the Lord. All of your sabotage has already embarrassed you, and now you're sitting in deadbeat households. All the best. I'm signing out. Peace out.